This thing.
Welcome to another episode of the Strong Family Project podcast. I am Joe, as always, joined by Mel, who was just asking questions on what we're doing this episode on. Well, I already told her the topic, but she's getting curious about it, and hopefully she has some because I have prepared a sheet of paper today. I have joined the paper party to make sure that I deliver for you, the listeners. And I do want to say a quick word of appreciation. We have a couple really great written reviews in the last week. We do appreciate that. If you are getting value from this podcast, the Strong Family Project, visit us over on Apple, search for Strong Family Project, open an iTunes. I know it's a pain. Click the red review button and leave us a couple of kind words so that we can continue to bootstrap this project to help improve your lives. Those words of gratitude mean a lot to us.
And welcome back to the Strong Family Project podcast, where we guide you on the path to raising confident, independent, and resilient children in a strong family environment.
Mel, why were you nervous when I pressed? Let's talk this out. Why were you nervous when I pressed record so fast?
We choose our topics for the week, and I thought our 10-Minute Tuesday topic was our full-length topic, so I had more to say, and then you're like, no, this is 10-Minute Tuesday.
You wanted to talk for another 10 minutes on going outdoors? Hey, you guys should go outdoors.
Because maybe I was just giddy about talking about plants and birds, because I'm like, I get really excited about that. And I'm thinking about, since I couldn't get this in the last one, I'm thinking about making rosehip jam. Because I just happened to see in the local newspaper, hey, it's rosehip season. And I used to eat that stuff when I was a kid because my family would make it. And at least I think that's what it was called.
That's why we have a good back and forth, Mel. You get tactical. You want to talk rosehip jam recipes. And I want to talk, hey, if it sprinkles, go outside anyway so you build family resilience.
We'll go outside, find the rosehips. The kids make fun of me because we're walking along. We take lots of walks now, especially since Everett just got his training wheels off. He's off to the races now and wants to take these little walk/bike rides all the time. And now I'm walking, so I'm noticing all the leaves changing and the plants changing. And I got really excited about the rosehips, and the kids are making fun of me. And Henry does this thing where he'll point something out, but he'll fake me out. He's like, oh, I see a rosehip. And he's like, just kidding.
Ooh,
like,
and you get all amped up to see rosehips.
It was like a red leaf instead or something.
Now, today's episode, that was Tuesday's episode. If you want to hear the full conversation, there is no additional rosehip talk. It is all on ways to get outdoors with your family and why it's important. That would be a great one for you to revisit. Today, we're talking about family influence. It's a powerful topic that you can literally shape the way your family grows together, the things that they are exposed to, the values that they are taught, and how you can reinforce them on a day-to-day basis in your household. And most families overlook this. In my opinion, they like decor. They like to make their house look pretty, which I understand, because I guess you might not think I understand because I don't want things too pretty. But I want things useful. I want reminders up on the wall. I want things that we believe for and stand for. And I want the kids to walk by each day and maybe once in a while glance at it. And so there are some areas of influence that I want to share with you. I have 7.
I didn't really number mine. Mine are, I have a major
Mel has
one.
3, let's call it. And so we have 10 items on to improve your family's influence. And here's what this comes out to. I'm re-listening to the book Influence for the 4th or 5th time, seminal behavioral psychology book. And now every time I listen to it, yes, I pick up some more, but I'm also at a different point in my life by Robert Cialdini. It was done a while ago. And each time I listen to it, I was a starting business owner. So I think about it through a business mindset at the beginning. And then I'm starting a family. And now we're raising kids as they get older and deciding what to do next with our lives in the Strong Family Project. And each time I read the book, I'm at a different place in life and I take more out of it. And it is an amazing book. And something I took out of it this time is how easily we are influenced. And Robert Cialdini, I think he's got 6. I don't know. I should know that because I've been through it so much, but I'm panicking under pressure. 6 areas that really influence people. The one that struck me, it was talking, unfortunately, about teen suicide. And they were looking at studies that when there was a news article that was about a suicide, in the upcoming weeks and months, there was often more suicides just like that one. They went to one school and one child stepped in front of a train, and then 4 or 5 more additionally stepped in front of the same train at the same spot within the next couple months. Because they see that in the news and they say, that child is like me. And they might have had tough time and feelings, and I'm having a tough time in feelings, and this is what this person decided to do, so maybe that's what I should decide to do. And they are so easily influenced, and there are so many things that we let slide, and so many things that we have to teach our kids to filter out there in the real world because it's just put in their face so much, and it might not align with your core values, but they're going to be influenced by it unless you are countering within your household and controlling what you can control. You can't control if the school goes off the deep end on any which way. Yes, you can choose to homeschool them, but they start to do this political propaganda and in whatever direction, but they start to inundate your children with their beliefs. And whether it's, I don't know, I'm trying to think of multiple political, it could be pro 2A type arguments. It could be all the DEI stuff now. It could be all these other political type agendas that are across the spectrum that you just care to, hey, you know what, maybe I should be the one deciding if I believe this or not with my kids and family. And shouldn't we be talking about the educational process experience, the facts and figures, the math, the literature, all that sort of stuff in school? Your kids are being influenced. I would like you to consider that and counter influence within your household. And I'm going to give you 7 different areas that you can focus on regardless of what you believe in.
This is really the power of the strong family path, because every aspect of the path gives you the opportunity to shape your home life in a way that influences your kids the way you would like them to be influenced, starting with core values, spending time together at family meetings, family dinners, the evening debrief, like all of these things create opportunities and situations throughout your days and weeks that lead you to knowing what you're about, having your kids develop your values so when they go out into the world, they have a filter to run them through.
You ready to get into it, or would you like to rant a little bit first like I just did?
I was going to backtrack to the beginning a little bit because you quickly mentioned that we're going to be talking about like in the home. And I know you said people like to decorate, make their house pretty. And maybe this is more of like a girl topic since I did like the decorating. Joe actually wanted us to put like an Arnold Schwarzenegger picture like above our bed. And I was like,
I didn't say above the bed. That's
yes,
weird.
You did.
That was Joe in his 20s. It's not
You
Joe
said
in his
in
40s.
our bedroom.
I would like an elk.
No, this was like when we first got married. It was a joke between us. But I think part of you
Joe in his 20s.
But that was true. Did I just offend you?
You made me sound weird.
No, I didn't mean it to sound weird. It was almost like you were trying to put something on the wall that just to irk me because you know I didn't want it. But anyway, my point is we just went and looked at a house yesterday. Because sometimes we go out and look at these houses to see if we can expand some rentals that we're working on.
Just say expand the empire, leave it vague.
Expand the empire, okay. And they had such awesome decor. And I know it's like kind of staged, but I think these people actually live this way. And I was like, wow, it's so like clean and fresh. And then the realtor told us it's a couple, they don't have any kids. And I was like, oh,
we had looked at that same house like 12 months ago and it was a dump. They had like a saturated carpet with dog urine. And we're like, oh, this place stinks. They put in new wood floors, very simple, repainted it, looks great.
But my point is they didn't have kids. And I think maybe there are some people out there that can master the art of a simple house when you have kids, but it's very hard to do, especially if you want to do the things that we're going to talk about. Because if you're trying to influence your kids, I think like a nice calm house is great, but you have to be able to be willing, and this is a struggle for me because I like things to always be put away, but I've had to step out of my comfort zone and be willing to put things on the wall, put things in places strategically to influence our kids in a good way.
And today we're going to share those things that are going to strategically influence. Now, I'm going to share more general categories because in reality, I don't really care what you believe in your household if that's the way you want to lead your family. So I'm not going to say, hey, put up this specific poster to influence your kids this way. I'm going to give you the categories that you should consider, and I would recommend writing these down. The first category of home decor sounds very foofy. I don't know if that's a word.
Foofy?
Foofy.
Foofy?
Froofy?
I'm not sure. There's something.
The first one is items that show gratitude. In this category, I would consider pictures from your past. If you did like summer vacations, like a little bit of a history story where you can show gratitude towards where you've come from and share those stories with your families. Downstairs in the weight room, my mom made us a collage because my father passed when I was in my 20s of the old pictures we have. That's all the pictures we have. It's about 15 of them. There are no more. This was pre-cell phone picture area, disposable. Maybe he caught the end of the disposable camera era, but we don't have very many. And so we have those up there, and I can explain and show gratitude that I don't really. There was some tough times worked in there, but I can also be thankful for all the cool things I got to do. We got to ride this horse as a picture. We talked about that in a previous one. We got college football picture up there. And so the kids get that connection. I would consider his family history in this category of you showing thankfulness for the people who went before you and the things that they did that made it possible for you to stand where you're standing today.
And I'm actually working on figuring out somewhere else in the house that I could do that from our pictures, or just the kids as they accomplish things like this summer.
I got another category on that.
Oh.
Don't mesh my categories together.
Okay. I guess I don't have much more to say for that.
I'm going then. Second category, celebrate success. Where Mel was going with this. So I think it's really important. Yeah, you have the historical things that you're thankful for, but it's also important to show some gratitude towards yourself and what you've been able to accomplish. Whether I hesitate to put fancy vacation pictures in this category. I don't want to celebrate, like, hey, I made a lot of money, we got to do this fancy thing, unless there was a connection piece associated with it. And if we were somewhere cool doing something cool, then that would be different. If we're just standing in front of a fancy house, I wouldn't throw it up there. But downstairs, it was over a year ago that I did the 4,140 pull-ups for my 40th birthday. The kids made me these hand-drawn signs in this 4-foot-long poster that says "Go Dad Go" and some pictures of people doing pull-ups that they hand drew up there. It's still up there over a year later. Reason why is because I want them to celebrate success. Henry's done something similar with over 1,000 pull-ups in a day. And when they get their football pictures and when they get their soccer pictures and when they get their positive referrals at school for doing good things in the classroom, those are all things that I believe should go up. It's like people limit it to their refrigerators. Just imagine if you took that refrigerator and expanded it into different rooms, different areas where you can constantly celebrate success. And that's a reminder to the kids, hey, you did something and you contributed and you've been successful, and success breeds more success. And I think those things need to go up or else they're going to get forgotten.
We're working currently on getting a poster, not a poster, but trying to figure out how to encapsulate their rite of passage this summer that you did. And we talked about this in the previous episode about how Joe took each of the older two up Pikes Peak and Everett up the Manitou Incline. And it was a really important experience. And oftentimes we'll experience something really cool, or you'll go to a great training for work and you're all pumped up. And then a couple weeks later, it fades to the background. And that's our goal here. We don't want these things to fade to the background. Yes, our boys earned these watches and they wear them every day. And sometimes you have to almost remind yourself, remember why you got that. That's an important experience. So we're actually currently working on figuring out what to do with this wall downstairs. And I'm almost imagining putting a cork board up there too, to add some of these other things that pop up during the school year.
You say like I should have a reaction. Ooh, yeah.
No, I'm
cork
like...
board. I don't know the medium. I'm happy with
one,
anything from a sheet of paper to a piece of duct tape with words written on it to cork boards. It's all good. I want to put duct tape on paint. All right.
Well, no, because I'm thinking like Logan did get a positive referral from school. So
yeah.
The middle school does this cool thing where they will call. A teacher will say, okay, this child did this really great thing, and they'll send them up to the main office, and then the principal and the child call you together. So last year when this happened, I was like, oh my gosh, the principal's calling. Usually that's a bad thing. So the principal now, he's wonderful. He'll say something like, hi, this is Mr. Katie from Manitou Middle. I'm calling with a positive referral. So before you can even say anything, he tries to squeeze it in there that it's a good thing. And I'd love to be able to like tack that up upstairs. It's actually tacked somewhere else, but might be better suited in a different place.
Number 3, that define your future success. I see this as a big lacking one, so I'm going to say it again. Define your future success. And this is almost like, what are those boards called that people make that like every year?
Boards?
Vision boards for a year. Like cast your vision on where you want your family to go. For us, we have the definition, because we're 3 sons, we defined what it takes to be a good adult man and contributing to society and their life and your family life. And we came up with 3 categories, and that is in a different episode on 3 traits of a good man. I believe that episode is called, if you want to go back and hear more about them. But we have the definition of where we're going as a family. It doesn't have to be that specific. I have a buddy, Wade, who's been doing great at homesteading. And if his goal is to have all these beautiful fruits and vegetables that they are starting to grow in their gardens, and they have chickens, and I believe they have a cow, like they could have those beautiful fruits and vegetables type pictures up, so it's drawing them towards that vision of what that they can make possible. And so it's for whatever you deem possible. And I would caution against doing like overly things that are so far outside of your control that it puts too much pressure on the child. And I'm talking specifically like professional sports pictures everywhere. Like you're going to be a professional athlete and these kids are like 7. Maybe some version of a fit adult, and whether they take it in that direction or not, and it will be up to them. But just things that you can really control and that you actually want to accomplish, put some thought into it and put them up a little bit.
We do our goals for the year with the kids, and they
hold on.
Is that a different one?
Yep.
But isn't that future success? Okay.
Would you like to do one of yours, Mel?
No, I think you should go through yours first.
All of them? Wow. Pressure's on. Okay. Number 4. People to identify as them having characteristics of a role model. And I say it like that is because there's no one that's going to be perfect that you're going to put up on the wall. Oh man, there's an old good Charles Barkley saying, your boy Chuck, the round mound of rebound, where he's just, I ain't no role model. He talks like that when he was playing basketball, but people definitely looked up to him. And so now this is where you can start sprinkling in some of those athletic figures, not just for their athletic prowess, but who they are would be important. Downstairs, again, in the weight room area, we have the Man in the Arena speech. We have watched some Teddy Roosevelt type documentaries so the kids can learn more about the struggles that people had. Not always like, all right, let's follow this person's political ideology, but this person grew up, overcame a lot from being sick as a young man, became very outdoorsy, became very active, did what he thought was right in most situations, and overcame a ton. And so that is up there to tell that story so that they get some perspective on life. And I think that's the role model.
The pastor at church was explaining how you have to have something in your house to have your children think about the Bible or think about God, or if that is one of your family values and belief system. So I decided to buy a dry erase board, and I put it up next to the kitchen. I was like really trying to figure out like where to put it, because I wasn't sure what would be the best spot. But my goal is to put a new verse up there every couple of days and talk about it with the kids and keep that top of mind, because to me that is a role modeling thing. If you're having a hard time, you could think of this, and this could help you push you through. And I think that's important to have up. I've never really been able to figure out how to do that. So I thought, I don't want to marry myself to one verse, so I'll just get a dry erase board, and then I change it up.
It's funny, we get questions on the podcast when people join the Strong Family Project. What's your denomination? It's not something that we talk about often, but it is part of our life, so we don't mind mentioning it. But there is wisdom in these old books, and I think it's lazy to say, if you believe this certain thing, I will believe everything you believe in. Like, we're not trying to get you to buy into all of these things that we're talking about. We're just giving you some perspective to think on.
So it is important in our particular family, so I wanted to make sure that I found a way to share that.
Next, number 5. Apparently I'm doing my whole list. Celebrate family values. So if you follow the Strong Family Path and have your family core values up, you should have that plastered everywhere. Everywhere. Throw an extra everywhere. No V, one V, double V. I got, we're going big in the values. So let's say one of ours is be adventurous. We have adventure awaits decor up there. This is the fancy stuff that Mel gets. Go hiking type, some wood that says go hiking or whatever it says. So we are reinforcing our family values. And so we have different ways for the kids to give gratitude. We have the prayer board for people that they want to consider. We have a lot of things that celebrate our family values so that they are learning them and learn what our family stands for and believes in.
There's one particular thing. So I used to walk around like Home Goods, and I'd be like, what do I want to hang up on the wall? And usually I wouldn't find it because it wouldn't be something that I really want the kids to see or read or whatever. I want it to be influential. So there's one I did find back in the day, and it's like this big milk jug, like it's flat. And then it'll say something like recipe for a good life or recipe for a good family life. And it'll say 1 cup of laughter, like 1 tablespoon of I don't know, working hard, whatever it might be. There's 15 things. And I remember when I first got it, the kids loved reading through it. And we brought it with us when we moved. And I don't think I quite thought about what we're talking about at the time as encapsulated as you're doing right now. But now that I think about it, I'm like, I really did think about that piece to put on the wall really thoughtfully and really intentionally.
And I want to throw this in here. It is not altruistic to be like, oh, I'm just going to let my kids decide however they want to live their life. So I'm not going to put up anything in my house. They go out and they are inundated with advertisements of people who are willing to put this stuff up and that they get to choose and influence what's in their life. It's not like there's a lightning bolt that will strike the child and give them their unique personality. They are influenced by these things all around them. So it's up to you to guide that path a little bit stronger in your household.
That's really, I think you made a super important point there. They are inundated by ads, whether it's on their computers or whether it's out in the world. And we want home to be a place where they feel like this, I'm part of this. This is like my family is about this particular thing. We know who we are. And that all can be reflected and strengthened by all these things that we're talking about.
Yeah, so if you haven't already, and we do have a couple more to go, but visit strongfamilyproject.com where we give you the 7 steps to set up your family the way that we're talking about, establish these core values that you can then put up on the wall and let the kids contribute to and really be a part of something that's all free for you at strongfamilyproject.com. Can't believe we give all that away for free, Mel. I can't believe it. We do genuinely want to help people out.
We do.
And I wanted to give one more shout out. I was in New Jersey for a speaking event at a gym owner conference, staying over with my buddy Vince's house. And I hope I get this right, but I believe his wife Vanessa had an artist over to paint their family core values on the wall. And I'm pretty sure it was painted, which I really I respect that. That is commitment.
Didn't she create it and then she was going to surprise him with it when he got home?
Yes. Yeah. And he came home from somewhere that we were at.
Painted. Wow.
I believe it was painted, like really well done, big, like the size of a doorway on their wall. And I love that kind of commitment. I hate this kind of rinky dang, oh, let's put it up real tiny because this will look better the size of a doorknob. I'm like, no, plaster it the size of a doorway. Like, why are we trying to hide things? And yeah, eventually we'll move out of the house. We'll paint it over anyways, or whatever that home goods thing is going to get tossed in the garbage. It won't go with the next house's shape or something like that. So go big and lean into establishing influence in your family on your strong family path.
Maybe making it small is just an excuse to not be accountable. If you make it small, it's almost like an excuse. Well, we're just really not going to, we're not all in.
That could be it. And it could also be, and I would take some reflection on it, the influence of previous generations saying your household has to look just like when people come over, they have to think you're of higher status by how nice you keep everything. And I think a lot of us have been influenced by previous generations who used the home as an establishment of which financial class they were a part of. And I encourage you to shake that.
It's interesting you said that because we're about to host a rehearsal dinner at our house in a couple weeks.
And Mel just got a dump truck full of dirt dropped right in the middle of the driveway. And you know what we need right now? A pile of dirt. I'm shocked and impressed with you, Mel.
That's a whole other story. It was supposed to be rocks. It ended up being dirt. Anyway, okay, so we're going to be hosting a rehearsal dinner, and I'm super excited about it. And I started to think to myself, did you get the bug?
People on YouTube, you just got a treat. Hit a fly right out of the air. Go ahead, Mel. Keep going.
And I started to get stressed about where am I going to put all my stuff to make room? And we have room for the tables and stuff, but I certainly need to simplify and move stuff around. And I'm going to talk a bit about the kitchen, but we've got stuff on the walls everywhere. And how much do I really need to put away? And then when I start to really think about it, obviously I have to make room for tables. But I'm like, we're a family. This is where we live. Why am I putting things away just to make it look just so because I'm going to have some people over? I'm not saying it shouldn't be like, I like things to be tidy and put away, but I'm not going to go crazy trying to hide everything that is our life. And the kind of cool thing is the rehearsal dinner will have a lot of kids too. So it's like they're going to want to play with toys. I always have books in the kitchen, and again, we have a little seat by the window, a window seat, and I always have books there because the kids will inevitably pick it up because it's there.
Oh, you're not going to hide those because guests are coming?
My point is the instinct inside of me was to hide it. But the more I thought about it, the more I want everyone to see who we are, not like some kind of want to hide everything. Anyway, side note.
Number 6. And this is where Mel was talking on earlier, and I'll explain the slight nuanced differentiation. We have our where we're going this year, goals for this 1 year process. And so earlier I mentioned in number 2 to celebrate successes. I talked about defining our path. When I was talking defining our path, I was talking more holistically as the family. Our goals are individual. So in the Strong Family Path, we talk about relationships, that we have so many individuals in the household that they deserve their independent success and their independent goal setting for the year on where they're going to go. So we sit down in January. We did a whole episode on it, but I'll summarize it quick. I believe it was episode 3 or 4 right off the bat. And so they sit down, they draw a picture of everything they want to accomplish in the year, and we've hung those up so they're constantly reminded and drawn towards that vision that they committed to in January, and they're on track. Most of those things are getting checked off. From playing soccer, ours included launching the podcast and doing other things. A lot of these goals were checked off because I believe we publicly put them up. We don't forget about them. We're constantly attracted to what we want to get done this year. So it's not thinking, when I grow up, I want to be a professional baseball player. So let's put that picture up there. It's, hey, what are the habits that I need to do in this year so that I can make that true? Whether it's family fitness and exercise, which we're big on, whether it's individual learning how to juggle a soccer ball 50 times off his foot or whatever Henry has been working on lately. Post up your goals. Talk about your goals. Have direction in your life. And I think that is very important influence. And it doesn't even really matter what the goals are. It just shows that your kids are part of a group that makes progress, and they are a high-performing group that does have goals. And that will drastically improve their chance of success as they get older if they learn how to set goals every year and it becomes a routine and they see you do it.
And when you say something like constantly talk about it, we have our weekly family meeting. That's when we go back and review. Joe will say, okay, what's your commitment for this week, which is the thing you're going to do for 7 days to work towards one of those goals. And as soon as you say that, all the eyes go up to where the goals are posted. And that's how we remember. It's not like we just randomly hope that we remember to talk about it. We do it every Saturday. Actually, today we're going to do that. Every Saturday when we sit down together at dinner, we're going to go through it. And they're right there for us to see. Otherwise, if you have to pull it out of a drawer or find it somewhere, just make it that much harder to accomplish.
Down to the last few minutes, so I'm going to jump to my number 7. Things that help and assist. Think downstairs we have this huge map on the wall. I'm constantly referring to that map. I'm like, what is the capital of that state? Like which one is the capital of Texas? Like, I should know that. If so, it's San Antonio, Houston, Dallas. Oh, that's what it was. And like, how do you spell the capital of New Hampshire? I'm like, or Vermont, whatever. It's Montpelier up there. One of those. But I refer to the map and assist. Another better version is we became bookshelf people. The reason why we have a bookshelf, it's right over here on the side of our podcast area, is because I want the kids to see that they and us look to other places for help to learn and grow. I love Audible. I listen to it. I listen to the vast majority of my books just because I can do it on walks and hikes, and I can re-listen and take notes in my notebook. But I still will buy the physical book as well so that it sits there. And so it's a reminder of the help that I've received along the way to become who I am. And we have the kids' books that do the same thing, and different kids' books that teach different values or different skills. And so things that help and assist should also be up on the wall so that the kids know it's fine to get help and assistance.
I love that you brought up the map, because I bought that back in New York because I had this big, huge wall. I didn't know what to do with it.
It's a huge map. It's 15 feet wide. I'll be down there talking smack. Like, I could run to Wyoming from here. And then my brother would be like, all right, let's go to the map. We'll go over to the map. Like, damn, that's far. Like, maybe.
You know what
wow, it's way farther than I thought.
It was almost, it's funny that I bought it because we had not thought about moving at that time. But now the kids can look at the map and they see where we live now, where we used to live, where we might want to visit. Like, it's become this cool thing. And it's nice to look at, which I think is still important.
All right, Mel, time for you to land the plane. I am out of 7, and we have 1 minute to go before the 30-minute mark, but we'll go a little extra because I know the people enjoy some Mel advice. Let it rip.
Okay, so this one's going to be, it's looking at it from a completely different way and what not to have in your household. Now, you did mention some things, but I think the thing that comes to mind for me
umbrellas.
Oh my gosh, I don't mean that.
Just go out. Oh, you do have an umbrella. It was
I
out
do
on the
have
porch.
one.
Embarrassed me. My brother came over. There's an umbrella open. Go ahead. What else don't you
had to
think we
dry.
should have?
Okay, so the basic big thing that comes to mind for me is where you place your TVs. I think that needs to be really strategic. So we do not have a TV in our kitchen. We do not have a TV in this room that we're sitting in now, which is like the living room. And I think it's important to think about that. Where do you want to be able to gather with your family and not have any kind of screen distracting you? Now, I know nowadays there's cool ways to hide the TV and whatever, or even like in hotels, you can like close the door and not see it. But I think it's definitely strategic for us in the kitchen to not have the TV in there. We want that to be family time only.
The only place I want a TV is in front of exercise equipment because I hate cardio or conditioning.
Okay.
And so if I could just I would mindlessly watch TV if I was doing my interval training or something and had one up there. But anywhere else, I don't care for it. This is a sitting room. We don't have TVs in here or anything like that.
And I suppose this also has to refer to like screens, even though most screens these days are portable. But TVs, I think it's important to just think about strategically. Like we moved into this house and it was fully furnished. And there was a TV basically in every room except for the kitchen and the living room. But we don't use like any of them. We use the one in our
They're
bedroom.
old. We don't even know
Sometimes.
really how to turn
I don't even
I
think-
got to get a child to help turn the TV on. All right, what do you got? Oh, what else you
Seriously, I
got?
don't
TV's
have
a
the-
good one.
I don't have the remotes for all of them anyway. Okay, so that was one that occurred to me, what not to have, and I think TV is something to think about. Another one, the other two are related. I think it's important, we've talked a lot about what to put on walls, but I think it's just as important to think about how you plan the space of where you spend time. So I'm going to tell the story about the couch that I talk about all the time. So when we moved here, there was a couch in the basement, and then there was several seats. And then upstairs, we have this awkward in-between room where Henry will play soccer. My desk is in that hallway. But there was this really fancy cabinet, and it would drive me crazy because I was like, if I could change one thing in this house, it'd be to get rid of this cabinet. And because I figured we could just move the couch from downstairs. So eventually I made that happen. Someone came and bought the cabinet, and we moved the couch from downstairs to that space. And what it did is it created this awesome hangout space. So now if I'm at my desk working, someone could hang out on the couch. If Henry's playing soccer, inevitably someone will come in and sit on the couch and hang out while he does that. So it's just created another space in our home where we can be together. And one of our core values is wanting to be together. And you have to create the physical space for that to be possible. So my final point I wanted to make was, for us, the kitchen table is another space that's really important for us. We spend the majority of our time together at that table. And that's where we hang up our goals. That's where we have our core values hung up. That's where we have some of those things from the school. Like Everett will bring home his Friday folder, and we'll hang up some of his artwork from the week. So that's really where we come together. And if you can imagine or identify a special place in your home where it can just be all about family and all about what you're about. And that's also where the window seat was that I mentioned, where I have books, so someone could sit there and hang out. It's just important to not only have stuff on the wall that's important, but actually create physical spaces to spend time together.
So I think some families need to do some talking and balancing. I know some people will look at that 4-foot by 6-foot painting of a lady and a duck in a pond in a park. That makes me feel good. I want that there forever. And then someone else will be like, hey, why don't we use that space for like core values or accomplishments, or get a big canvas of something we've done as a family. And maybe you got to compromise a little bit and figure it out. But I would challenge the assumption that the home decor should be just exist to make the house look nice. I think it should exist to make your family more attracted towards the goals that you want to accomplish, and put that mindset to work, because your kids will get influenced by this sort of stuff, and you're giving away supremely valuable real estate for a very mundane setting if you're not using it to establish your family goals and help guide the kids, provide assistance, celebrate success, set goals, and instead would prefer a picture of a pine tree in the winter.
There's room for that stuff too.
I know we got this plant right here.
Joe makes fun of me because I like what we call wall carpets, because I like texture on the wall. So we
It's
have
like bathroom rugs hanging on the wall.
Well,
But that's the compromise, as long as we get the other things up as well.
right.
Melanie, final words.
Enjoy your home, but make it intentional.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Strong Family Project podcast. Visit us on strongfamilyproject.com. We are currently giving away the 7 steps of Strong Family Path for free.